All right, folks, so today I'm doing a brief review on my Dell Inspiron 7000 series. So this is a 17-inch 2-in-1 notebook, and as you can see, it is touchscreen. It's running Windows 11, and I'll say right off the bat, I think this computer is an excellent value used. So I think this came out in 2019, so it's only 4 years old, and I found this at a pawn shop. So a lot of times I'll scour, Facebook Marketplace. I wasn't even looking for this. I was looking for something else, and I saw it, and I was like, I paid like $250 after taxes, and so you may not find it that cheap, but it is a very good value because of the viewing pleasure that you get out of this notebook. So I'm coming from a 14-inch notebook, my Latitude 7490, which is a great notebook. It has a matte finish notebook. It has a touchscreen. It wasn't lacking anything, but I do not travel with my notebook at all, really. So I have a notebook, a little 13-inch that we use for work, and if I need to move around for that, I just use that. So my home computer is a notebook, and I can still fit this in this bag that I have here. This is a nice Samsonite bag that I picked up, but it fits in the back portion of this bag, even being as big as it is. So that's good enough for me. I'm not going to buy a sleeve for it because that just looks stupid. But like I said, you're buying this computer for your viewing pleasure. So it does have a 500 gigabyte solid state hard drive, a 17-inch, widescreen display. It's 1080p. We'll just take a look around. So it has an aluminum case. So first and foremost, this case is dirty, and I've pulled some stickers off of it. I need to clean it, but I love this aluminum case. It's very durable. It doesn't show scratches. Ports wise, obviously they stole this design from the MacBook, but you have your USB-C, HDMI, your headphone jack, your power jack. I don't have the power brick with me. This thing is a beast. And so flipping it around, you do have an standard SD card slot, not a micro SD, and you have two USB ports. So ports are going away. I mean, that kind of sucks because I would love to have 3 ports. Sometimes I'll connect phones to this computer to dump stuff off on an external hard drive. And once I plug one phone in here, it's a wrap for that. So here is the bottom of the computer. Actually, it's sliding, but the speakers are down here. They fire here. It says Inspiron on the bottom. This was manufactured in 2019, so it's not super old at all. So I'll go ahead and hop into the specs, but it does take really 2 hands to kind of open this thing. All right, so as you can see, the display is very nice. When you do have lighting, it does have glare issues, as most glossy screens do, but this is super convenient. I don't do a ton of work at home. I don't type up a ton of spreadsheets and things like that, but if I'm watching a YouTube video and shopping online, this is convenient. Really, I bought this for the viewing pleasure, the split screen, and the speakers are good. I love the fact that it does have a fingerprint scanner here. I have not set that up, but I like that when you're getting on websites, just being able to do that or logging into the device. That is super helpful. I know it's old school, but if you ever had an iPhone with Touch ID, you kind of get it. I mean, it's super, super convenient. You don't have to remember anything. You just put your finger there, and I love that. So we'll just get into the specs here on this. So I'll just type in system information, and like I said, this is not a computer. If you move around a lot, don't buy this computer. But I mean, the screen is bright. I will say the speakers are probably mid-range. They are loud enough to where if you're in a room, a medium-sized room, small room, you can get a good amount of sound. This laptop does not have a subwoofer on it, so don't be looking for that. It's just a stout, sturdy laptop, and the main thing is the screen. So portability is not great. Picking it up with one hand, it's super heavy. You can't really open it with one hand. It's a beast to wield. You can sit it on your lap, but I just want to get into some of the specs. It does have a Core i7 processor. It is a 4-core processor, so it has 16 gigs of RAM. Like I said, I have a solid state hard drive. It's not Getting into components, it does have a graphics card in it. So it does have dedicated graphics memory, which, you know, I mean, it's not great. It has a 2 gig graphics card, so you're not going to be doing any advanced gaming with that. As you can see, it has the GeForce MX 250. So that's not doing much at all, and it kind of switches between that. When you're searching the web, it's not using it. Probably if you're looking at media or movies, it kind of activates that. So, but yeah, overall, this is a very fast, very snappy computer. You know, the fan comes on, it's not super loud, it's a quiet fan. You know, the bottom of the computer doesn't get super hot, the palm rest doesn't get hot. And that's one of the things I like about larger computers is that, you know, they know you're not looking for something so svelte that they're just, you know, there's millimeters of plastic between you and like a copper coil that's like 200 degrees in temperature. So the palm rest doesn't get hot. It's super convenient having the keys here. And like I said, it's super snappy, super responsive. You know, you pop open a website, it's quick. I mean, 16 gigs of RAM, you're going to search the web, and I'm not editing videos on this computer. You know, just on a website, you can kind of flip between stuff. You know, have multiple videos open, watching stuff. It doesn't freeze up, and it's running Windows 11 Home. So, but obviously you can change that if you want to. And one of the good things about this computer, as you probably know, a lot of computers now, if they don't have a 8th generation processor from Intel, you cannot upgrade to Windows 11. So I don't know if they've made exceptions on that, but yeah, overall, this is a very, very nice computer. And you know, again, the point is viewing pleasure, and it's very inexpensive. So outside of like hardcore gaming or video editing, you could do some light stuff on this. This is a great laptop just to sit around the house. It's a good desktop replacement. If you know, live in an apartment, you don't have a ton of space, or, you know, you have a family and you're trying to get away from being in front of a computer all the time, this is probably a good option. You can kind of fold it, put it away when you're not using it. If you need to make the space dual purpose. This mouse pad has, you know, different gestures and things that you can kind of use, so you can zoom in and out by pinching and scrolling. That is something most modern computers do with the trackpad, but when you have a large one like this, it's just easier to do that. Or using 3 fingers, you can kind of slide things over and open other things. And so Windows is really good about that now. So all right, so I'll go ahead and play some video for you so you can kind of see.
Is it fair to the rest of your team to keep sticking by Zach through this?
Yeah.
And so quite honestly, I mean, if you wanted this to be like your TV, Netflix situation, you could do it. I mean, it folds, you know, completely in half. You can do it this way, or obviously you can make it a tent. Again, if you're in like, you know, a large city and you really don't have space for a TV, I mean, 17 inches is good enough to pass for, you know, good viewing pleasure, I think, for 1 or 2 people. Okay, and so this video is this is with it in tent mode. And so the way the speakers are arranged, like, you can really hear it well. This is not a great video because it's just not. So we'll just press play here, and it auto rotates. So I mean, that's a good size. Like I could sit and watch this, you know, and I'm not missing, you know, a television at all because it's just me. I mean, it's not 4K, but it gets the job done. The way the speakers are oriented, the screen auto rotates. You can hear them good in tent mode. You can hear them good sitting up the other way. So this is all around a very, very good option. If you can find it under $300, I would say pick it up if you're willing to wield such a beast. And I will say, these are not the speakers right here. So if you get this laptop, these are vents for the fans here, but these are not the speakers. I mean, this hinge is super, super solid. So yeah, I mean, this would be a great pickup. It's a sturdy laptop. Dell makes, you know, a very, very good laptop, and they make good, computers. These screws are pretty basic. You can get a eyeglass, you know, screwdriver and take these off, take the back off, and upgrade components and things like that. So it won't be super hard. I like that this is aluminum. It kind of protects the screen a little bit better. It can dent, it can ding. but you know, it's not going to crack on you. I wouldn't drop this on the ground because that glass display would break, but overall a very, very solid option. All right, so the only drawback I would say on this computer is going to be the webcam. So it is 720p, and a lot of webcams out there are, you know, they're really not made for, you know, 4K or anything like that, but it looks super grainy in this lighting. And I will say the webcam on my 7490 is better. That Latitude is a business notebook, and I think it had 720p, but it was a little bit better. I mean, as you can see, this is quite a bit grainy, and I'm not like streaming over anything. This is just what it's picking up. The lighting's not super bright in this room. You have a mixture of natural lighting and fluorescent, so that may be throwing it off a little bit. If I was in like my work office, where it's like super bright fluorescent lighting, I think it would be a bit better, but again, not the best webcam on this computer. All right, a couple other drawbacks on this are it does weigh like this thing weighs 6.5 pounds. If you get a non-touchscreen model, it probably would be a little bit lighter. That, and this does not have an Ethernet port. So it came out in 2019, and a lot of computers don't have that. The Dell 7490 I had was more of a business laptop. It was a Latitude series, so it did have a little Ethernet port that you can kind of pull down and open up so you can put the cable in there. This computer does not have that, so everything is wireless, so you want to be aware of that. This is not a business notebook. I would say you can use it for business, but you know, if you're hardwiring stuff, then don't. And it does not have a lot of ports. Like I said, it has 2 USB 3 ports, which is not very much because, you know, one is going to be used for a mouse. And then if you have a memory stick in the other one, you know, it kind of limits you. And then the regular SD card slot is kind of silly to me because all phones now, if they even have a memory slot, use a micro SD card slot. You can get an adapter, but I don't know why you put a full size on there. It really doesn't make sense. The 7490 has a micro SD card slot. And so you kind of have to determine what you're using the computer for. This is just for watching YouTube, watching Netflix, shopping on Amazon, eBay. You know, I don't do a ton of shopping, but when I do, I like larger screens because you can see more texture of things. Color representation's a bit better when you have the glossy, rich panel with better contrast. So I really like that. But yeah, comment below if you have other questions about this. Just a super basic, super solid, large screen laptop. Oh yeah, and it does go to 32 gigs of RAM. So that was a consideration I had too. You know, I mean, I think that would get you by for the next 4 or 5 years. So I don't know how long I'll have this computer, but again, I do very basic stuff. So at home, it's kind of connected to, you know, my external hard drive, and I have a mouse, and that's it. I have a printer. It's wireless. I don't really use it too much. But yeah.